hosted by Alex. You are watching the ParkTwister podcast.
To all who come to this happy place, welcome.
Welcome back to the ParkTwister podcast. My name is Alex, and today is a very special podcast because I am joined by Storybook Amusement. Storybook, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on the podcast today.
So it's going to be a different kind of show today because we won't be going over any theme park news or anything. Instead, we will be doing a fun little concept that we both kind of came up with. We will be rating each Universal Studios Florida ride and attraction on how long we will be willing to wait for said line. And if we still have enough time on the show, we'll do Islands of Adventure right next door. So, what do you say we get started?
Yeah, let's get into it. Let's head to the front gate.
Okay, so, if you hear any ruffling over the mic, it's because I have the park map on my desktop, so I don't miss anything. But Despicable Me, Minion, Mayhem.
Yeah, so you want me to go first on this?
Yeah, you can go ahead.
All right, so the way I'm going to approach this is if I got like an ultimatum or something, and for some reason I got banned from the park, and I only had 2 days to do everything one last time. How long would I be willing to wait on the super tragic day I'm banned from the park? So with Despicable Me, Minion Mayhem, they took away the 3D part of it. I would say 30 minutes is about the tops I would wait for that.
I kind of agree with you. It always has the longest line in the park. And I feel like that has to do with it's a very popular IP, and it's the first thing you see when you enter the park. But I don't know. 30 minutes probably for me too.
Yeah, if I had kids, it'd be a different story, but just me personally, 30 minutes.
Yeah. So, how about Shrek 4D?
Shrek 4D, so we all know the reputation that ride has. Funny thing is, I rode that ride, I went to the attraction, I guess it's not a ride, on opening day, so I have some memories there. I would want to do it if I'm at the park, but still, that's only a 15-minute wait for me. It's just so crazy with all the hydraulic noises and everything.
I have only done it 3 times ever, and that's only because it had a walk-on, and it was... The way the park is set up, it's like this with Despicable Me 2. I normally rush to Mummy to start the day, and then I don't come back to the front of the park until it's like time to leave. And so I always forget about like the first rides you hit.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of like that with Despicable Me and Shrek. For me, it's probably like a 10-minute wait. What I would wait the most for Shrek, but...
Yeah, I totally get that, because there are other things to do in the park. It gets that way with Halloween Horror Nights, too. There's a scare zone right there in the middle of Despicable Me and Minion Mayhem. Despicable Me and Shrek. That you just go run into all the different houses, and through the night you barely walk through that middle section, so it kind of gets forgotten. I get that totally.
Yeah. So, what next? Hollywood Rip Red Rocket.
Oh boy. I love coasters. I'm probably like a coaster enthusiast before I am a Universal fan. But this one is just so rough. And there's all those brakes that you hit.
Yeah, the trim brakes.
Yeah, oh my gosh. So maybe like 10 years ago, I would have waited an hour or 2 hours for this, but now probably about 30 minutes is max.
Yeah, for me it's about 20, 30 minutes. I would like it if the layout was better and there weren't so many mid-courses.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's like 7 of them.
Yeah, I mean, that's not even over-exaggerating at all.
Yeah.
I guess you do get good airtime coming out of them, but that's the only bright side I have for them.
Yeah. It would have been better if they just built a B&M Hyper. But
yes. It's basically what Japan has, though, right?
Yeah, with the Dream, the ride, or whatever that is.
I don't know the name of it either, but yeah, I wish Orlando had that same type of attraction.
Yeah, it seems like when they built that, or I don't know which opened first, but it seems like whoever built their second was trying to replicate the other park with like a Hollywood-themed coaster.
thematically pretty similar, yeah.
Now Transformers the Ride 3D.
Okay, for me, I'm like a diehard Spider-Man fan for the attraction. I love that ride. I think
Right, right.
perfectly. Transformers is just a step down. They didn't quite nail the story in the same way. Just for that reason, you have Spider-Man right across in the other park. This one's 45 minutes tops. It's still a really good ride, but just not quite an hour or anything.
I agree with you that Spider-Man is a lot better, and that ride I'll wait like all day for if it comes to
Yeah,
it. Transformers, I don't know if it's the IP or something, but probably like 30 minutes tops for me.
I got you. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not a huge, for the IP, I'm not a huge fan of Transformers. Never really watched the cartoon or had the toys. So yeah, there's no personal connection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a good
Seems
ride,
like it.
but
Yeah, it needs a soundtrack. I would love a soundtrack on there.
yeah. Well, doesn't it have like the main score from the movie when you're going through the queue?
Oh, in the queue, probably. I can't say for sure off the top of my head, but the only music I could think of in the attraction itself on the ride is when Bumblebee is doing his stuff.
Oh, right, right. Okay, so this is a fun one. Race Through New York starring Jimmy Fallon.
Well, the thing with that one is the queue is really cool. Like
Yeah.
it's I'm trying to see where I put it on my list here. I wrote out some notes. Okay, found it. That one, yeah, just because of the queue, it's cool to hang out in there, especially if it's a hot day and you're with some people you just want to hang out. 30 minutes. I don't mind waiting for that one.
It's tough to say how long you're willing to wait because it does a virtual line. So you're not really waiting regardless how busy the park is. I like it. I don't love the ride, but I like it more than most. And so maybe like 20, 30 minutes about.
Okay. But we gotta reference Twister. Because this took over Twister and your park Twister. I gotta bring it up.
I'm so salty about them taking out Twister, which is also why I'm not a huge fan of Jimmy Fallon.
Uh-huh. Figured there's a little bit of resentment there.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. All I remember is just Twister in that place. I never got to do the Ghostbusters show. My first trip to Universal was 2010, right after Hogsmeade opened. So all I think about is Twister when I see that space.
No, and that's cool. Not a lot of people attach to that attraction. So I think that's cool.
Now, this is my favorite ride in the park, Revenge of the Mummy.
Yep. I, I'm with you right there. So I put my limit at 2 hours for all the attractions. I'm just kind
Smart,
of,
smart.
and Mummy is right there at 2 hours. The queue is so cool. I would stand in there all day. It's like quite literally cool. You get some nice air conditioning in Florida. Very much appreciated.
Yeah.
It's the overall ride. And I haven't been on it since it's been improved when it went down for refurb a few months ago or last
It's
month. I think.
the refurb is really good. It's almost too good because a lot of the projections are really bright now, and it doesn't feel like you're going through like a sacred tomb, really.
Okay, it's like super high tech.
Yeah, the new visuals though, like when you're on the turntable ready to launch, it's like new 4K animation and looks really good.
That's awesome. I'm glad they're still updating. I mean, the ride is getting close to 20 years old at this point. So I'm glad they're keeping it up. How about you? How long would you wait?
2 hours as well. I've never seen the wait longer than like an hour, at least when I'm at the park, and that's a shame because it like I feel like people look at that building and think, oh, there can't possibly be this amazing roller coaster inside, and so they take it for granted and just kind of pass it up. Because I know people who have been to the park, and I said, "Did you ride the Mummy?" And they're like, they didn't even know it existed.
What? Oh,
So it's like, I don't know. I guess it's not as iconic as Space Mountain, but
yeah, that's true. You don't like walk into the park and it visually attracts you to that location like Space Mountain would.
yeah, like I said though, it's like the first ride I always do when I show up to the park.
Yeah, for good reason too.
Yeah. The next attraction is Blues Brothers. I think we could skip that. And I guess we're going into the San Francisco area. Oh boy, Fast and Fast and Furious Supercharged.
So, going back to my initial thing that I'm approaching this, if I only had 2 days left at Universal ever for the rest of my life, how long would I be willing to wait? I would just skip this one.
Right.
Ride something else twice, then take another ride on this. Unless you at home, the listener, are a huge Fast and Furious fan and you like a good laugh, there's no reason to wait for this one.
Here's my biggest problems with the ride. It's not the ride itself. It's that it devotes so much time to telling you to put away your cell phone, and it's like, what's the point of the pre-show video if you're just going to make literally, and I'm not exaggerating, literally half the ride announcing to put away your cell phone?
That's true. They incorporate it so heavily into that.
It's like, oh, Shaw is going to, whatever his name is going to find us if we don't put away our cell phones. So silence them, please. And it's like, I got that the first 100 times. I'm the kind of person who doesn't like breaking rules anyway. So you tell me once and I'll put my cell phone away.
I know, geez. I don't want to get kicked out of the park, let alone have Shaw with me with a gun.
Right.
So I don't think you said how long you'd
5 minutes. I've waited 30. I was taking my mom to the ride because she still hasn't ridden it. And I was like, you have to go and experience it. It's the best ride in the park. And I'm like, we waited like 30 or 40 minutes and it broke down. And then they evacuated the queue. And so still to this day, she has not ridden the ride.
Man, she waited for it too.
I feel like it's one ride that people kind of know how bad it is. And so they try to avoid it. But it's something you have to experience once to be part of this phenomenon of mocking it.
That's true. You're not a part of the club until you rid it.
Right. Okay. On to Diagon Alley, the Hogwarts Express.
Yeah, I guess from London to Hogsmeade, I would do 30 minutes for that. That's the proper way to enter the Wizarding World.
Yeah, like 30, 40 minutes for me. I really think it is one of the coolest transportation rides at any theme park ever. And
that's a really good point, yeah.
And the King's Cross station at Studios, I guess there was nothing to really base it off of over at Hogsmeade, other than like a platform. So they really went all out on the King's Cross station, and so I never mind waiting really in that station, but the other one I kind of do because you're like outside.
Yeah, that's a good point too, because there's even the effect where so I'm not a Potter fan. People are probably screaming me at home for not knowing what it is when you go through and there's the illusion where you like disappear
through the brick wall onto platform 9 3/4.
Okay, yeah, that like interactive stuff like that really helps the time pass by, and you get to watch other parties do it. You get to watch your friends do it. It's cool to be in there, no doubt.
Yeah. Escape from Gringotts.
That one, it's not quite Mummy level for me.
Right.
The overall experience, but the queue itself, and some of the elements they have on the ride, it's a 2-hour wait. It's worth it to me.
Right, like, yeah, about 90 minutes to 2 hours. It seems like they really combined The Mummy and Spider-Man when designing that, and I love both those rides.
Yeah, that's a good way to sum it up right there.
Yeah.
There are a few slow spots in the ride for me. That'd be my only gripe. Like, you kind of calm down a little bit too much. I just want it to be a little bit more fast-paced.
Yeah, I wish after the launch at the end, I wish it went a little bit longer, and if it did that, I think it would have been the perfect ride for me. Yeah, I see what you're saying, though. Some slow patches. The map I'm using still has Fear Factor on here. Okay, Men in Black Alien Attack.
This one hits home. I'm just a big fan. 2 hours. I know it's not Mummy, I know it's not Gringotts, but me personally, that's a 2-hour wait right there.
It's the only, like, I'm not a huge fan of Toy Story Mania at Disney because it hurts your arms when you're pulling that pull string.
I actually got a blister one time.
Oh, jeez. Buzz Lightyear, I'm not a huge fan of because you can't see your laser. So Men in Black is like the perfect dark ride shooter for me. I love it so much. And it's more skill-based than the other two shooters.
Definitely.
So probably around 2 hours, which might be a little extreme, but it's like, I love it so much. I do kind of like, though, that it has a short wait, because every time I would go, since they make you do a locker with your bag, I always ride it like 3 or 4 times in a row, since it's always like a walk-on. So I kind of enjoy that, but...
Yeah, the thing, I feel confident saying 2 hours because it, like you said, it's never a 2-hour wait, unless it's like super peak season or something like that.
Right.
So I don't think I've actually waited 2 hours, and I don't know if I would actually walk into the park and willingly wait 120 minutes for it, but that's what I'm going with here.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great ride, so...
Definitely, and I keep going back to this, but that is by far the best air conditioning in the park.
Yeah.
It's like a meat freezer.
I feel like Universal does the air conditioning really well in their attractions.
I almost feel like the tickets would be like $10 less if they ran the air conditioning a little bit more conservatively.
Oh, you know what ride has the best air conditioning? This is not in this park. It's in Islands of Adventure, but Dudley Do Right.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know.
Before you're wet?
Like when you're in the queue, it is freezing in there.
I've never really noticed that. I only been on that one a few times. If we get to it, we'll talk about it. But yeah, I'm not a huge soaking wet water ride fan.
I'm not really either.
I have not noticed that though. That's an odd one.
It's in like the little mine shaft before you get on the ride. Like when you first enter the building.
Gotcha.
Like you'll feel the wind blast you from the back of your head. It's wild. Okay, so now on to Springfield. Kangan, Kodo's Twirl and Hurl.
Yep. Okay. This is a good one for like scenery in the park. You're just like elevated a little bit and spinning around, kind of chilling. It's really easy going.
Right.
But well, it is what it is. So 15 minutes.
Probably like 5 for me. I've only done it one time, and it's because it was a pretty crowded day. I don't know. It never really has longer than a 5-minute wait, so...
Yeah, that's the thing, too. If it's open.
If it's open, right. It's good, I guess, because the park doesn't really have a lot of, like, little kid rides. They have E.T., but I don't know. So it's a good ride for little kids.
Right. Yeah, it doesn't have the lap harness or anything, so, like, anyone could get on it, right?
I think so. I think it's just a seatbelt.
Okay.
Yeah. Now the Simpsons Ride.
The thing is, I don't really like this queue because it feels claustrophobic to me. They have all those like panels and it's just really tight. I don't like standing in it. And the ride is okay. Kind of hurts my neck to look up at the screen and it's all blurry.
It helps to ask for the top row.
Oh, okay. That's a good tip.
When you you'll go left or right. Sometimes the very top is closed, but even if you have to wait a little bit longer, always ask for the closest to the top. There's 3 decks, so just ask for like the top, and it doesn't hurt your neck as much to look up.
Okay, yeah, that would be a much better ride experience up there.
Yeah.
But man, this even seems high, but it has a long line all the time, so I feel comfortable saying 30 minutes.
I'll probably be around there, probably around 30, 20, 50, 25 minutes maybe.
Yeah, okay. That line just gets so backed up.
Yeah, I think it's because it doesn't have... You would think it would have amazing capacity, but every time I go, it seems like one theater is closed or something. There's 2. So...
That must be it.
Yeah. It always seems to take a while, even though you would think it would have good capacity. A lot of kid attractions that I'm probably going to skip, like Animal Actors, A Day in the Park with Barney, which is now closed. Curious George Goes to Town. Woody Woodpecker's Nighthouse Coaster. How about that?
Yeah, I like riding these kinds of rides. I don't know if this one ever gets a really long wait. So maybe...
I was checking the app the other day, and it had like a 30-minute wait or something because it was like a holiday.
That seems high for that ride.
It is, yeah.
It usually is. How about you? I would do probably 20 to 30.
The thing is, here's how I feel about it. I have not done it. The only ride in in Kid Zone that I've done since I was actually a kid. What has been E.T. because I love E.T. to death, but I'm always embarrassed to go on the kid coaster, especially if there's never a line and I'm like the only one on it. So
Yeah.
I have not been on it in over a decade.
Wow.
I'm waiting for it to get a long line so that I'm not the only one on it.
But then it could be worse because you would think you'd blend in, but you're the only like 6 foot tall person among these like 3.5, 4 foot tall kids getting on.
Right. Well,
Do it.
I could just pretend I'm someone's big brother or something. I don't know.
Everyone's a kid at the theme park.
Right.
You could get on it. And they're good puns. Well, good as in really, really bad. Good puns in the line.
Yeah, I've seen videos of the ride since then. Yeah, I'm just waiting until it gets at least a 20-minute wait. Okay, so now E.T. Adventure.
So this is another like Men in Black where it's just, I have to do it. I have to. And who wouldn't want, like, I would, if I could, I would get married in the E.T. line. I don't mind standing forever in there. So I would say 2 hours.
Yeah, like, my family always makes fun of me for how much I love that ride and how much I love the queue scent.
Mm-hmm.
And they're always like, why do you love this? Why do you go on this every time we're at the park? And I'm like, because it is better than any Disney dark ride. That's why.
Oh, wow. That is a statement right there.
Well, it was the best. It was the best. I'm using air quotes. Best Disney dark ride besides Rise of the Resistance.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I have my candle here.
Oh, I need to get that. I've had my eye on that for forever. But yeah, it's the best Disney ride that Disney didn't build.
That's the way to sum it up right there.
Yeah, like 1 to 2 hours on my wait for it, probably. Yeah, 2 hours
How
just
much
because
of
I
that-
love it.
If you took away all the nostalgia, how much would you wait?
All the like if they redid the ride.
Like if you had no childhood attachment to this ride.
It's in a very okay. So the building, the front of the building, when you're approaching it, is very underwhelming. So I probably would think it's more like a show. First time.
That's true.
First time doing it, like a sit-down theater show or something. If I knew it was a ride and had the same idea as like Peter Pan, because let's be real, Universal was kind of copying them with the concept, I would probably wait like 20, 30 minutes for my first time.
Yeah, if you like wiped my memory and I didn't know what E.T. was, that's about where I'd be too.
Now on to the Hollywood section. Does the horror makeup show have a line? Or do they just... I've only done it one time.
See, okay, I'm going to get in my mentions here. I've never done it. I can't remember doing it as a kid, and I definitely haven't done it in the past 10 or so years. So I don't know.
Yeah, I remember it. I've only done it once, about 2 years ago, a year or two ago, and it was something with the people they cast, because it's always a different cast of people doing the show. They made the show kind of boring and dull and really cheesy with bad jokes, but not the good kind of bad jokes. And so I've heard from people that it's like a must do, and I'm like, maybe I just had a bad experience, so I'll give it a shot one of these days again. That's kind of why I've only done it one time, but maybe one of these days I'll do it again.
Yeah, I mean, I always have intentions of doing it, but just I'm too busy rewriting Men in Black and E.T. over and over and over.
Right. This one is my all-time favorite show at a theme park ever, which is the Bourne Stuntacular.
Yeah, we are on the same page with that. It still is a show. I'm more of a rides guy.
Right.
Really all in on shows. But still, it is absolutely mind-blowing. If you at home have not been on this or seen it, you are totally missing out. I would do an hour wait for this one.
Yeah, like I said with the horror makeup show, I don't know if it really has a... They have like a waiting room, waiting to go into your show, but they don't really have a designated line. But yeah, 1 to 2 hours. I'll honestly wait all day for it because I was there when they soft opened it. I waited longer than anyone should for a show that day. Waiting because they didn't know if they were going to open it, and it just kind of happened. But I was waiting out in front of the show with like a big group of people waiting to see if it'll happen.
That must have been, there's not too much shade over there.
No,
so you must
it was
burning up.
It was torture.
That is dedication. Like, you're borderline crazy with the with that, and how often you stalk the Velocicoaster, just camping out waiting for that. You are super dedicated to all that kind of stuff.
I don't know what to say. It's just like, I'm so driven mad that I have not seen Velocicoaster test in person.
It's like they know it. They know what they're doing.
Like when you go out into the back area behind Popeye, and they have like that's where I always go. There's always a worker back there watching me whenever I go back there. I think they just are assigned that task. And whenever I would leave, they would leave too and go do something else. And when I would come back, they would be out there watching me again. And I'm like, they're probably getting so frustrated with me just staring at one coaster for hours.
Wait, is it like someone on the construction site, or is
No,
someone
it's
right by Popeye?
It's a team member for Popeye.
Wow. And
I think they do that for anybody. Not like, because it's kind of a secluded area back there.
Oh,
and so
good point.
they don't want you like drunk. They don't want you like doing something you shouldn't be, trashing the place, jumping fences. So I'm sure they have cameras, but
Yeah, I got it.
I think that's it actually for studios. How long have we been going?
Oh, and there's the little water slide. I don't think it's open right now.
Oh, Fievel's Playland?
Yeah.
I've never done that,
done that
so I don't remember it ever being open, funny enough. Like when I was at the park.
It is so tucked away. I wouldn't know about it if I didn't look at the map.
Yeah. Do you want to do a lightning round of Islands of Adventure?
Okay, I won't go as deep into details.
Yeah, just super fast. I'll announce the ride, and then without thinking, just list your wait time. So here we go. Part 2, lightning round. Skipping port of entry. Okay, Marvel Superhero Island, Incredible Hulk, go.
Hour and a half.
60 minutes. It's a good B&M sit down. If you're in the front row, do not ride the back.
You get a little bit of headbanging there.
Yeah. Okay. Stormforce Acceleratron, even though it's not open right now.
15? Tops. We're talking about maximum 15.
Okay, I've never done this ride, believe it or not, but probably like 10, 15 for me too. Dr. Doom's Fearfall.
Cool queue. Fun ride. Scares the poop out of me. Only ride that still does that to me. 30 minutes.
Yeah, 30 for me too. I like it for just being... I mean, my favorite ride at Busch Gardens is Falcon's Fury. This is sort of like... When I can't get on Falcon's Fury, this is like a good alternate ride to that.
Yeah, definitely.
The Amazing Adventures of Spider-Man.
Yep, I mentioned that earlier. Love that ride. Hour and a half.
Hour and a half for me too. Me Ship the Olive. Okay, skipping that because it's not really a ride. Popeye and
You
Blue...
would spend all day there.
I would to get good views of the Velocicoaster.
Exactly, with a super long lens and everything.
Right. Popeye and Beluga's Bilgerat Barges.
Gotta be honest, haven't been on it in about 10 years.
Oh, wow.
Don't like being soaking wet, but also I would still do about 30 minutes.
It's a really good raft ride.
That's what I've heard.
If you go on Color River Rapids at Disney, that one's pathetic in how you get wet compared to Popeye's. You get. I've never been on a ride and have gotten more soaked than Popeye's. You get drenched.
I don't understand it scientifically. That's why I don't go on it anymore. Like, I joke around that I would dry off if I got in the shower after riding Popeye. I don't understand how it works.
Dudley Do-Right's Ripsaw Falls.
That one's fun. 45 minutes. A little bit of coaster element in there.
Yeah, the drop is definitely the best on a log flume. Probably like 30 minutes, mostly because I don't like log flumes particularly, but yeah, like 30 minutes probably for me. And you got that nice air conditioning queue that I mentioned earlier.
Get blasted.
Right. Skull Island, Reign of Kong.
I love it. The animatronic is incredible. I love King Kong. Hour and a half.
Yeah, isn't like Kongfrontation your all-time favorite Universal extinct ride?
Yeah, that's that's probably it. It's Dueling Dragons is a close second.
I forgot to mention when we talked about Diagon Alley, Jaws is my all-time favorite. I forgot to mention that.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's hard to let go.
Yeah, I was going to incorporate that into my channel name, but Theme Park Shark is already taken.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah. I almost forgot how long I'll wait.
Oh yeah.
Like 40, 50 minutes, because I actually have done that multiple times. But I do love it a lot more than Fast and Furious, even though it's like the same ride. I don't know it's just better. Probably because you don't have that stupid spiel of please silence your cell phone 100 times.
It's more adventurous, more convincing, and the payoff at the end is so worth it.
Right. Okay, so Pteranodon Flyers, and I know you need a kid to ride this. I have ridden it when I was a kid, like one time. So it's kind of tricky to place how long we're willing to wait when you have to have a kid for it.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't remember. I know I've been on it, but I can't imagine it other than the videos I've seen. Forgot to put this one on my list. I totally forgot about it. But just because it's so elusive, 2 hours. If I had a kid with me, I'd take advantage of it. 2 hours.
I would wait all day just to get aerial views of Velocicoaster.
Yeah.
I've seen pictures of what it looks like, and you can see right into the middle of the construction site.
Mm-hmm.
So
It's unbelievable.
they'd probably yell at me for it's the only ride I would break the rule and take my camera on, and they'd probably yell at me over it trying to get shots of the coaster, but
Yeah.
it'll be worth it.
I actually tried rope dropping this ride just to see if they would let me while no one's in line.
Oh. Well, when they did the previews, I'm going to say this real quick so we don't waste any more time, but when they did the previews, they let team members ride it. Like when before the park reopened from the pandemic, team members.
Oh, yeah.
And so I was there on the first day, and I went and asked if I could ride it because I saw that they were on it, and they wouldn't let me.
Oh, man.
That was such a disappointment. Such a letdown. Okay, now my favorite water ride of all time, Jurassic Park River Adventure.
Yep, it's sad. It's a little beat up at the time, but I would still wait an hour.
I'll wait 2 hours. It's the only water ride anywhere in the world that I can say that.
It is fun. I do love it. Top to bottom, I think it's one of the best stories out there.
Yeah. And then you got a great drop at the end.
With a dinosaur dangling over you and swinging at you. Yeah.
At least it doesn't look as much like it's floating like in Hollywood.
I haven't been over there or really watched POV, so I haven't seen that.
I've only seen a POV. I was supposed to go to Universal Hollywood in October for my birthday, and then they still never reopened. So we all know how that went.
Oh yeah, 2020.
Oh yeah, and now it's becoming 2021. Okay, now into Hogsmeade, Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey.
What needs to be said about this one? Hour and a half, 2 hours.
Same. Now this ride is the first ride that I rode, and this was when I was scared of any ride that went up in the air or anything. I was scared of and terrified of everything as a kid. This ride showed me how cool theme park attractions can be, and for many years it held my #1 spot of best theme park attraction ever until Flight of Passage opened.
Ooh, that's a whole nother conversation. But yeah, it is a near perfect ride, if not perfect. I love it.
Yeah, it's so good. And they just got new locker systems, which are a billion times better than the old ones.
Okay, yes.
Flight of the Hippogriff.
Good views of Hogwarts. It's bumpy somehow. 30 minutes.
Yeah, 20, 30 minutes. Like I said about Woody Woodpecker's Nighthouse coaster, I'm weird about riding that one because I'm a 23-year-old. But I don't feel that way about Flight of the Hippogriff. Maybe because it's like right in the middle of like the area, so it draws a lot of people to it. So I don't feel weird about riding it. I don't feel weird about riding it. Yeah, 20, 30 minutes for me too.
Here's one that I would wait forever for. The next ride we're getting to.
I'm glad you mentioned it because how could I forget? I almost forgot it on the map. Okay. Hagrid's Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure.
When I said about Forbidden Journey near perfect or perfect, this hands down is perfect.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, I would 3 hours, 10 hours, whatever it takes.
I know you
I'm
put
on-
2 hours on your list for max wait.
that doesn't matter.
But I've waited 3 hours for it. That's the longest I've waited. And then you had that like 15-hour crazy line on opening day. So to me, there's no limit to how long I'm willing to wait for this.
Yep, I'm right there with you. Whatever it takes.
Poseidon's Fury at the Lost Continent, but didn't they announce that was closed forever?
Oh man, if they did, that's news to me. I just thought it was closed.
I think
Like,
people are.
it's in limbo.
I think it's rumored that it might never reopen.
Seems likely.
It's looking very likely
Unfortunately.
it may never reopen because most of the other ones that closed temporarily, like Kangan, Kodo's Twirl and Hurl and Fast and Furious, they reopened since they closed them just for the season for budget cuts. This one still is not reopened, and that might be a staffing issue because you need it's more of a show, but it's also something I've
Right.
never done, and so I'll be devastated if it closes forever and I never get to do it.
Oh, it's good. There's like a final scene that's kind of cheesy. Like the animation's pretty bad, but overall, I actually do enjoy it. There's some cool parts in it. I would do 45 for that.
Yeah, I mean the wait is just by default posted at like 45 because that's how long the show is, and so if you catch it at the right time, you may only wait 5 minutes. Catch it at the wrong time, you may have to wait an hour. So
I've sat in that line.
that was always a turnoff for me, which is why I've never done it. Because I've gotten in line and it ended up being a lot longer than I thought it would take, so I just got out. That's happened like 3 times.
Darn.
Yeah, maybe one day it'll reopen and I can do it.
I really hope so.
Now on to the last section, which is Seuss Landing, the High in the Sky Seuss Trolley Train.
This one usually has a long line, so because of that, I'd say 30 minutes because it's unlikely I'd wait much less than that on a normal day.
I've caught it a couple times where it only had like a 10-minute wait.
Especially recently, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I think the long wait may be in a result that they only ever run one track now. Sometimes they run 2 on like really peak season days, but because there's 2 tracks. Probably like 20-30 minutes for me, for my max wait.
Mostly for the Velocicoaster views, but yeah.
Yeah, right. The Carousel.
This one, absolute maximum 15 minutes.
I mean,
It'd be longer.
it's a carousel, so really for the kids, but 5-10 minutes for me if I ever did it. I've never done it, so
Oh, okay.
I think I might have when I was little, but I don't remember it. So
I always hit up Seuss Landing in the middle of the day when all the other lines are long and it's hot. I'm just chilling out over there.
right, same. 1 fish, 2 fish, red fish, blue fish.
This is the same for me. 15 minutes maximum. If I had a kid, it'd be longer.
Probably the same. I haven't done it since I was a kid, just like the carousel, but probably like 10-15 minutes.
It's funny. People are gonna blast me for. I've been on the carousel and 1 fish, 2 fish, all these rides, much more recently than I've done some of these other ones, like Horror Makeup Show, which I've never done. I'm gonna get blasted for that.
How about the Cat in the Hat?
I like it. 45 minutes.
Oh wow, I would wait that if it still had the spinning. And what's weird is that when they turned off the spinning really fast to appeal to kids more. And what's interesting is that I would never ride it as a kid because of that spinning.
Oh man.
It scared me to death. Like I said, I was scared of anything with much movement, so I was fine going straight. So I totally understand why they turned off the spinning, because so kids like me, when I was the right age group, would have more fun with it. But if they put back the spinning, I would definitely wait like 45 minutes. Without it, like it is now, probably like 15.
You probably wouldn't have to wait much more than 15 ever. That line is non-existent these days, so that's
Right.
that's a to wait.
I've caught it like Memorial Day. It did have an hour wait.
What?
Like, believe it or not, I checked the app. I always check the apps at random. The app at random. I don't know why. Just
No, I have the same compulsion.
yeah, just out of curiosity. And on Memorial Day, or no, I think it was Labor Day. because the park wasn't open on Memorial Day yet. It had like an hour wait, and I was like, why?
I think that's all of them, right?
I think so. Yeah, that's it. We just completed both parks. And I would say let's do Volcano Bay in like 5 minutes, but I've never been there, so I would not know what I'm talking about.
All those names blend together to me anyway, so I wouldn't know.
I'm not that interested in water parks, really. I do love Typhoon Lagoon at Disney, though. Or at least I did when they had the shark exhibit, but then they took it out.
Oh, I didn't even know about that.
They had like where you could scuba dive with sharks.
Oh,
and they took it out. Let me go ahead and do unless you have anything else to say.
No, I think we summed up. We talked about every ride.
I know. I didn't think it could be done, but we sure did it. So
we got there. Now to exit through the gift shop.
Foolish earthlings! Don't you know all rides must end in the gift shop? Okay. Well, guys, I believe that's going to do it for this episode of the podcast. Be sure to go and check out Storybook Amusement on his YouTube channel. I'll leave a link in the description below. He does a lot of great work over there, so be sure to go and check him out. Anyways, this has been ParkTwister signing off.